Hello, my name is Santiago Sánchez and I'm going to do a narrated presentation for the module the learning system. First of all, a little bit of context. For the last 4 years, I have been working for a charity in Manchester. The charity is called Reach Out. Reach Out is a charity that changed the lives of young people from disadvantaged communities in London and Manchester through one-to-one mentoring in an after-school program. They provide academic support and character education to help young people get a better start in life and go on to achieve future goals. My anecdote is about one of the participating children, Robert. Robert started attending Reach Out the same year I started working there. When he started to come, Robert was 14 years old and he was hanging out with the wrong crowd. They break into houses, stole cars and motorbikes, as well as taking and selling drugs. In school, he was constantly in detention due to bad behavior, which was not having any effect on him. Furthermore, Robert had a lack of motivation when it came to studying, rarely finding the time to study. Here is Robert's testimony on what Reach Out was for him.
I started working with Santi at the Reach Out Academy in 2006 when I was 14. I didn't used to have a care, I just wasn't bothered. With Reach Out, I was bothered. I got responsibility away and I was away from selfishness and recklessness. The first thing Reach Out taught me was respect for others and myself. Sessions stressed the value of studying and academic success. I was struggling. When you're a young lad, it's a pride thing not to say anything if you're struggling. But the mentors had the time and know-how to teach me what I wasn't learning in class. Reach Out helped me get back on track at school. Before I'd thought I was sick and there was no point in trying. But I improved a lot because Reach Out showed me I can do well and achieve at a higher level. I got a boost from being shown how to do stuff instead of just messing about. The reason I kept coming back was that it was a laugh. They were genuine, there for you. I didn't even think about why they were there. It just felt like they were helping. We felt like a team, playing football together. You could just put a lot of trust in the mentors, and it gave me values: moral, academic, respect, responsibility. Because we got respect, we gave respect. I've also got a better sense of responsibility that you don't get elsewhere. I'm now a mentor because I've got something great out of Reach Out. I now want to pass it on. The best bit about Reach Out is the trust they have for you. They see your potential.
Robert is now studying full-time at university. In this presentation, we are going to speak about Robert. Why was Robert not motivated? How he was acting and why he was acting this way? How did Robert learn? And we will reach our conclusion. To understand the change that Robert underwent, we need to contemplate the situation he found himself in. He was not motivated, he didn't have the support he needed, he thought that asking for help meant he looked weak and feeble, and he thought he was not intelligent enough to learn what the other students were undertaking in his class. So, why was Robert not motivated? In the school that Robert attended, they employed detention as the main vehicle for managing behavior. If you do not do the homework or if you do not behave, you go to detention. This is in tandem with the behavioristic approach to education, which says that the individuals learn through association and through the consequence of their actions. The school was only mindful towards the extrinsic motivation that worked with the majority of the pupils from stable backgrounds. However, this didn't work with the pupils at risk. They didn't try to reinforce the intrinsic motivation of the children, and that is a pity, because different bits of research all reach the same conclusion, that the intrinsic motivation in pupils works better than the extrinsic motivation techniques. Behaviorism has its limitations that explain why Robert was not responding with the techniques used by the school. Behaviorism does not take into account that each person has different motivation, attitudes and emotions, and therefore what motivates one person to learn might not motivate everyone. Also, it does not take into account all the ways in which we learn and that all learners all learn at different levels and speeds. It is possible that in this school they could use a different approach due to the number of students per classroom or the inability to understand the social background from which some of the children came from. That's why Reach Out approach was the perfect complement for these types of school. So, how was Robert acting and why? The way Robert was acting could be more related to the social learning theory, which says in society, children are surrounded by many influential models, such as parents within the family, characters from children's TV, friends within their peer group, and teachers at the school. These models provide examples of behavior to observe and imitate. Robert was identifying the pupils that came from a similar background to him. They didn't study, behaved badly, and were involved in criminal offenses like drugs or robbery. All the while, they were feeling proud about what they were doing. When Robert started at Reach Out, I put a primary emphasis on understanding the difficulties that Robert was going through in his everyday life. Family situation, house problem. This is concurrent with the humanistic approach. Humanistic psychologists like Abraham Maslow believe that we are driven by our unique personal needs that we desire to have fully met. Maslow described a hierarchy of needs which tends to be portrayed in the shape of a pyramid. According to Maslow, the reason why some people struggle to be motivated to drive their behavior towards reaching a higher level is because one of the lower levels is not being met or is only being partially met. In Robert's case, there were many needs that were not being met, mainly those associated to the safety and belonging levels, according to Maslow. Hence, I spoke with his parents and tried to develop an understanding of his situation at home, as well as trying to secure a safe environment for him, fulfill the basic needs so he can advance to the upper levels. To work with the children in Reach Out, we divide each sessions in half, 1-to-1 mentoring during 1 hour, and 1 hour of group work. During the 1-to-1 hour mentoring, Robert and I worked together. To begin with, I used the first 10 minutes of the session to speak about Robert's week, the worries, highlights, and how things were going with his family, friends, and school. This helped Robert and I to build a rapport. For the rest of the hour, I was helping him with his homework, especially numeracy and literacy. We can say that this is more of a constructivist approach, whereby the emphasis is put on Robert as the center of the learning. I was acting more as a facilitator rather than taking a leading role in the instruction of the class, as a stereotypical teacher will do. By doing this, I was allowing Robert to discover a path for education that he enjoyed while remaining independent. In order for Robert to learn, I was presenting him with tasks that were just outside of his current academic reach. They were neither too easy for him, as this would leave him bored, nor just too difficult, as this would leave him frustrated. This placed Robert firmly within the zone of proximal development, CPD, a theory developed by Lev Vygotsky, a Russian development psychologist. The tasks in the CPD are the things we can almost do ourselves, but still need help from others to accomplish. After my help, Robert was eventually able to do the task by himself. The group work involved activities varying from debates or presentations to team discussions where the topics were very different. Bullying, racism, poverty, solidarity, or economic crisis, for example. All the group work was designed to make the students collaborate with the rest of the group, listen to other people's opinions in a respectful way, and to learn from each other. We can say this is more in tune with the constructive theory. Learning is an active process in which learners construct new ideas or concepts based on their current and past knowledge. Social interactions and motivations affect the construction. In Reach Out, we try to use all these different theories to help us to cover all the functions that, according to Viesta, education performs. In one side, we have qualification, which is provide learners with the knowledge, skills, and understanding necessary to do important things. Then we have socialization, helping learners to become part of particular social cultural and political traditions, and subjectification, helping learners to find ways of becoming independent of or even breaking free from existing social, cultural, and political roles and traditions. Basically, we try to make them learn, participate in society, and be the best they can be. To conclude, through these processes and mix of different theories, we tried to educate Robert so he is happy. During this presentation, we have outlined some of the learning theories that Robert encountered during his years in the school and Richard. All of this lead to our final conclusion. The type of education provided by Richard is a necessity and a direct response to the problems of the current educational system. The current system appeals to students en masse and leaves some students abjected. It is to these kids that Richard appeals. Richard redirects the academic focus of these pupils who would otherwise be outliers for the academic system. Due to approaching education in a different manner to the schools, Richard manages to catch all the students the current schooling system seems to ostracize.